Until 2022, Russia was the world's second largest arms exporter, just over 2 times behind the United States. The Russian army had enough missiles, tanks, shells and other weapons for active operations in the first year of Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine, but the Kremlin's reserves are dwindling. Experts refer to statistics. If in the spring of 2022 the Russian army fired 60,000 shells a day, now it is only about 10,000.
The pace of the current war is such that these resources are critically insufficient for the Russian army. Why? Because before the beginning of the full-scale Russian aggression, there were approximately 14 million shells in arsenals at the bases. As of today, the Russians have already used more than 10 million of these very shells. What is left in the warehouses requires certain repair and maintenance work, which accordingly does not provide all the volumes of the Russian occupation army. That is why they have to blow down and beg for these shells from the government of the Iran and North Korea.
Since August 2023, North Korea has transferred about 1 million artillery shells to Russia. It has even sent advisors to the Federation to give recommendations on the use of these munitions. Iran also continues to supply arms to the aggressor country. The Ukrainian Defence Ministry said that a new cargo plane arrived in Russia from Tehran on January 10, 2024, which could have carried Shahed drones.
Official cooperation with Belarus at the beginning of the full-scale invasion is also known, as for the supply of a certain range of weapons, shells and repair of equipment. But in general, there are few countries' governments which are officially ready to support the aggressive state, terrorist state and Putin's regime, meaning that even their closest associates publicly avoid such support and try not to confirm in it. Andriy Yusov, representative of the Main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defence, on the air of Ukrainian National Telethon.
It is becoming increasingly difficult to develop the military-industrial complex in the conditions of sanctions and staff shortage in Russia. The low quality of materials, shortage of components, and lack of qualified employees make the process much more difficult.
The technological capabilities of the Russian military-industrial complex are not dimensionless. Already now, the Russian defense industry feels the shortage of numerically controlled machine tools. It critically lacks certain elements of equipment, techniques, elemental bases that allow it to turn weapons into modern high-tech and accordingly high-precision weapons. So I think the Russians have certain problems.
The Defense Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine notes that the aggressor has the greatest deficit with the development of high-tech weapons. The post-Soviet technical base allows for the continued production of old models, however in smaller quantities than before the start of Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.